I still remember the day like it was yesterday. It was in the heart of Ndemu, a small village nestled between rolling hills and vast stretches of acacia trees. The kind of place where everybody knew everybody, and secrets were as rare as a dry season without dust. But on that day, we all learned that some secrets can be hidden in plain sight, waiting for the right moment to reveal themselves. It all started with Mama Agnetta. She was the kind of woman you respected without question. A widow who had raised her 4 children single-handedly, she carried herself with a quiet strength. Her compound was always in order, her granary full, and her children well behaved. People often whispered about how she managed so well without a man, but no one dared ask her directly. On that fateful evening, the village elders had called a meeting under the great mugumo tree. The issue at hand was the strange disappearance of a young boy, Kioni, who had gone missing the previous night. His mother, Wanjiku, wailed as she described how she had sent him to fetch water from the river, but he never returned. The elders sat in a semicircle, their faces grave. Chief Mutinda, a man whose voice commanded silence, addressed the crowd. "We must find the boy before nightfall. Has anyone seen anything unusual?" The villagers exchanged nervous glances. In Ndemu, nightfall brought with it unseen forces. Stories of spirits and night runners were whispered among children to keep them from wandering too far. No one wanted to be out after dark. Then, just as the silence grew unbearable, an old man stepped forward. It was Baba Koranjo, the village storyteller. He leaned on his walking stick, cleared his throat, and said, "I saw something last night, just before the moon reached its peak." A shadow moved toward Mama Agnetta's compound. LL eyes turned to her. She sat still, her hands folded in her lap, her expression unreadable. Then, slowly, she stood up and faced the crowd. "I have nothing to hide," she said, her voice steady. "If you suspect me, you are free to search my home." The elders nodded in agreement. A group of men, myself included, followed her as she led the way back to her compound. My heart pounded in my chest. Was it possible that Mama Agnetta, the woman we all respected, was hiding something? When we arrived, she calmly opened the wooden door to her hut. The inside was just as we had always seen it, neat, organized, smelling faintly of dried herbs. But something was different. Near the corner of the hut, partially covered with a lasso, was a large basket. Chief Mutinda stepped forward and pulled the cloth aside. Gasps filled the room. Inside the basket, curled up and fast asleep, was Kioni. He looked unharmed, but his small body was covered in a blanket not from his own home, but from Mama Agnetta's. Before we could react, Kioni stirred. He opened his eyes, blinked, and then smiled when he saw her. "Mama Agnetta," he mumbled, rubbing his eyes. The room fell into stunned silence. The chief turned to her. "Explain." She took a deep breath, then let out a sigh, as if she had carried a burden for too long. "Kioni is my son." The words struck us like a thunderclap. Wanjiku gasped, "What are you saying?" "That's impossible." Mama Agnetta nodded. "Many years ago, before my husband passed, I gave birth to a baby boy. But at that time, we were struggling, and I was told by the elders that another family, one that had been trying for years to conceive, would raise him as their own. They told me it was for the best." She looked at Wanjiku. "You are that woman." Wanjiku staggered back. No, that can't be true." But as we all looked at Kioni's face, the resemblance was undeniable. He had Mama Agnetta's eyes, her nose, even the way he furrowed his brow when confused. The truth had been there all along. Tears welled in Wanjiku's eyes. "Why now? Why take him now?" Mama Agnetta sighed. "I wasn't going to take him away forever. I only wanted to see him, to hold him, just once. But he was tired, so I let him sleep. I was going to bring him back before sunrise." The elders murmured among themselves. The truth had come out in the most unexpected way, and now, 2 mothers stood facing each other, bound by the same child. Finally, Chief Mutinda spoke. "The boy has a right to know where he comes from, but he also has a right to the mother who raised him." Mama Agnetta nodded. "I don't wish to take him away. I only wanted to see him, to feel like his mother, even for a moment." Wanjiku wiped her tears, then did something none of us expected. She reached for Mama Agnetta's hand. "You are his mother, too," she said, her voice trembling. "From now on, you don't have to hide." It was a moment none of us would ever forget. In our small village where secrets rarely stayed buried, the truth had finally been unveiled, not in anger, but in a way that gave two mothers a chance to share the love of one child. And from that day on, Keone had two homes, two mothers, and a story that would be told for generations to come.